unemployment and things like that. But no, I'm not in favor of it. I think when you're born a man, you're a man, and when you're born a woman, you're a woman. Doesn't make any difference what you do to the body, it's the same thing. I don't care what they do with it, but I don't think that they should share it. I don't want them in our public teachers. I think there's a certain little line that we should make about whether men and women are appropriate and right.
Thank you. Just to reiterate, this is yes or no, only because of some questions.
It's a no.
Thank you.
I don't want them sharing.
Ms. Roseberry?
I'm sorry.
No, I believe that there are some safety concerns in public restrooms when genders would be crossed.
Mr. Peters?
No.
Okay, second question, also from Brian Bitterman. Do you support AB 1461? We'll start at the back again.
What is it?
He did not say. Okay, in that case, you can just pass if you don't know what it is.
Okay.
I don't know what he didn't explain that.
You can't keep in touch with every single thing.
Especially in California, I understand that. I definitely understand that feeling. Okay, next, we'll just skip that question, I suppose. Yeah, okay. Next question. So being a California native myself, and being a Republican and a delegate party member, I felt a lot of libertarian influence in the party politics, especially with younger politics. So my question for you is, do you feel there's a divide between the millennials in your state versus whichever generation you identify with? Yeah, so go down the line.
Oh, there's no division between me and the elderly, the poverty, the racial. I get along with everybody. I think everybody needs rights.
Thank you. Ms. Roseberry?
I believe that the millennial generation is frustrated by party politics. I think that they have seen money come into politics too often and actually give them that apathy that I referenced for the young students as well. I think that they believe that they can't make a difference. And so yes, I think that we need to draw them back in by teaching them accurately and giving them a reasonable expectation of what government can and cannot do for them. And I think that there's a disservice being done right now in the presidential election with gentlemen like Bernie Sanders basically offering free everything and not properly explaining that there is no such thing as free when it comes from taxpayer money. Taxpayer money will run out, and an entitlement mindset is a completely unsustainable financial solution. In reference to AB 1461, I'd be mostly opposed. It's a motor voter registration, and they basically have gone ahead and changed the way that you get a driver's license, which would potentially change who's voting as well.
Thank you. Ms. Peters?
I don't have any feeling about the difference between ages, and I do lean towards the libertarians. I think the libertarians are for compliance with the Constitution. Our government leans on the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court misinterprets the Constitution. The Constitution stays as written from the beginning, and that's what you get when you read it. You get the Constitution as written, but it's not how our country abides by the document. They abide by the Supreme Court rendition of the document. I'll give you one example, and that is money. The Constitution says Congress has the power to coin money. At first, when Abraham Lincoln printed money out of nothing, the Supreme Court ruled that fiat money was unconstitutional, which I believe was a correct decision. And then the President Grant selected 2 new Supreme Court judges. He had 2 vacancies. And the Republican Supreme Court approved these 2 judges who were both pro-fiat money. And then the Constitution, the interpretation was that we could print money, create money out of nothing, and that's why we have such huge deficits today.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Next question is for all of you. This will be a yes and no question. Given the water issues in our state of California, do you feel the EPA is a positive or negative impact on the state of California in regards to water rights? Ms. Alonso.
Well, I mean, if it's concerning the canals that rich folks are
It
setting
just
up.
says in general EPA regulations on water rights for California.
And that is, but I mean, I've been watching the water rights on Lake Shasta up in Northern California. It feeds all the way from Redding down to San Diego, and the reservoir was well down below a quarter full 2 years ago, and the Sacramento River that feeds it was way down. I feel like one thing that we could do to stop the drought or help the drought is we could pass a law.
I don't want to be rude,
But you know, he went on and on. You could pass a law.
but different question.
But we could pass a law that allows agriculture to water only
wanna start with
from
you.
9 to 10 o'clock at night, and it would ease our drought heavily.
Thank you, ma'am.
I guess that's a no.
Yeah, is there a question? Ms. Roseberry?
The EPA is a negative influence in terms of regulation on the drought.
Thank you. Mr. Peters?
I agree. The EPA is not doing the right thing.
Okay, next question is a yes or no answer. Yes or no answer is given the anti-Second Amendment mentality of California, do you feel that allowing campus carry where is legally viable, given our California gun laws, would you support something like that?
I think everybody should have a right to have a gun and protect themselves. There's a lot of bad guys out there that run the government and they have guns, but I'm not sure exactly what to do.
Thank you,
So I
ma'am.
guess I say undecided.
Yeah.
I am very pro Second Amendment rights and the rights to carry a weapon. The right to carry a weapon on a school campus, I would need to evaluate further. That one concerns me a smidge, depending on the age of the campus. If it's a college campus and everyone is over the age of 18, I would be much more inclined to be supportive of such a measure. If it's a school campus where there are young children present, there would be tremendous regulation that's needed to ensure the security of those guns in the possession of a person.
I apologize. This was in location to college campuses. I apologize for confusion.
College campuses, I don't have an issue with.
Mr. Peters?
The right to carry guns, we have that right. We have, from our Creator God, the right of self-defense. And I believe that everybody should be able to carry a gun. There is one caveat. They must be adequately trained to know the rules of engagement. And this must be precisely and deeply ingrained. You cannot just carelessly carry a gun. It must be within precise rules.
Okay, I know it's very tough to limit your answers. Having been in the seat, having been elected, I know this. Do your best with this. Again, Tim, please go ahead.
Mr. Peters, given an answer, I just got a question for you. They said, Mr. Peters, what is your definition of the Second Amendment?
I would like to say it by heart. I have something about a militia and the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. And to me, the key word is infringed. When you take away ammunition, you're infringing my right to bear arms.
Okay, I have a follow-up question for you, Mr. Peters. What is your definition of infringement?
I own a gun. You want to charge me 5% extra sales tax? No way, that's an infringement. You want to double the taxes on ammunition? That's an infringement.
Okay, this is another yes or no question for the panel, as it states. Given the high taxes in California, would you support lowering taxes any way you could to help out your constituents in the state of California on the federal level? Ms. Elzana.
I have a plan for making more money for all three tax bases, so I would center in on that very seriously in the federal level.
Thank you. Ms. Roseberry?
Yes, I support.
Yes, I support the lowering of taxes whenever applicable and available.
The idea of lowering taxes, we must reduce the amount of things the government is buying and paying for. They give subsidies. They give subsidies to foreign countries, etc. We need to tame our government spending down so that we can afford to live.
The next question is a yes or no question. It is given to all of you. We'll start with Ms. Alonzo. The question being, would you support dismantling the federal version of the Department of Education and giving it to the states? Yes or no, Ms. Alonzo?
Yes.
Ms. Roseberry?
Yes, gradually over time, because it did not come into its current form overnight as well.
Mr. Peters?
I would think yes immediately.
The next question is it's a geographical one and a foreign policy question. given our current situation in the Middle East, would you recognize the nation of Kurdistan as it stands now, given free Iraq and captured territory in Syria? Ms. Alonso.
It's their land. I think we should start letting them do what they want to do.
Ms. Roseberry?
I would think that they need to be in a place where they can establish security for that country that they would like to establish. So I believe that anytime we can assist,
Share the mic.
I believe anytime that we can assist an independent people in the establishment of an independent nation, that would certainly provide security, and it would also be able to deal with the ISIS threat that is there, would be productive. There are some bigger issues that would kind of need to be taken into consideration before it could just be a straight yes or no, especially in regards to the viability of those people to be able to secure their borders and establish a government. But in theory, it would be good to support such an initiative.
Kurdistan, I believe that we have 800 bases around the world. We need to bring our troops home from every country in the world, not just that one. And we need to let them determine what they want to do. And I would urge us to send the Christian churches to send missionaries to those countries to teach them how to live.
Okay, Tim, actually, since there's only about 10 minutes left, I wanted to get other panel members in, if that's okay.
You're the boss. Go ahead.
Thank you. Remaining questions, given the time, and I know it's not your favorite. Yes or no answers only, please. Panelists, please ask the question in such a way that it can be answered yes or no. Who wants to start this? All right, Nathan.
Do you think we should get rid of the agricultural checkpoint on I-15? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Perfect. We did it. Okay. How about? I guess I'm going to randomly pick. I'm going to go with Assemblyman John Moore.
Hi, Assemblyman John Moore here from Nevada. With the yes or no answer here, on the Second Amendment, do you support or not support, yes or no, on the banning of certain firearms, our right to carry them or own them?
I support
Such as assault rifles, that sort of thing.
No, I don't.
We can't hear you. Speak in the microphone, please.
I don't think we should stop them. We have to cure our society.
I think that there are current regulations that are sufficient, so no further ban would be necessary.
No further bans.
Jim Jonas, radio show host for Veterans of Politics. Yes or no, should the state of California increase the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit for 3-axle vehicles?
Partially. That can't be an overall answer. I mean, I live in Northern California. I wouldn't want to go at above 55 up there.
Okay, so I'm assuming that's no.
No,
Okay.
it's a partial.
Okay. Ms. Rosenberg?
Roseberry.
Rosenberg, I'm sorry.
It's already being violated as it is. I would say no, because if it goes up higher, we're going to see it go faster. So, no.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Peters?
On my trip up here today, I was passed by a truck. I was doing 71, and a big 18-wheeler passed me. I agree we should raise the speed limit.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Robert Faust, former U.S. Army, local businessman. Thank you for being here today. Where do you each stand on women's right to abortion, and would you fund or defund Planned Parenthood? We'll start with you, Ms. Elizondo.
I believe a woman's right to do to her body is what she should do. We have an awful lot of extra kids in this world our government doesn't want to take care of, and I believe that we have right, and I would fund abortion centers.
Thank you.
No public funds whatsoever should be used for abortion. I believe that this matter is still open to debate amongst the people. It should have never been settled by judicial activism on the bench. We understand that the Supreme Court has been wrong in previous cases. There's been 40 plus years of science since Roe versus Wade that should be taken into consideration for a legislative action in terms of when life in fact does begin. I personally believe life begins at conception.
So that's a no on abortion?
The question was whether or not public funds should be used, and it is a no.
No, the question was, do you support women's rights to an abortion, and would you defund Planned Parenthood? That was the question.
I support the rights of all women to a right to life, including those that have not yet been born.
So that was a no. Yes or
It's
no?
as stated. I believe in the right to life for women and men.
I believe in the right to life. Life begins at conception. And our country has gotten way too lax on sexual activity. The idea of sexual activity is between a husband and a wife. And and today we have teenagers, and then the government says, well, okay, we'll pay for the delivery of your child if you want to have a child. I also do not believe in abortion, and funding of Planned Parenthood is a completely separate subject, and the federal government has no business funding Planned Parenthood.
Okay, I'm going to go with the last question.
Rob Lauer.
Are we going down here?
Yeah. So,
I'll go with
okay, in San Francisco, we saw an illegal alien who was deported several times kill an American citizen. Do you support, as a U.S. Senator, cutting off funding for sanctuary cities like San Francisco? Cut off federal funding. Do you support that? Yes or no?
No.
Absolutely yes. They are in violation of federal law. They should not be receiving federal dollars.
We shouldn't be funding any cities. Cities should be raising their own money from their own people, not from the federal government. It doesn't matter. Well,
Okay. Well, thank you all for participating, but we have one last thing to do, and that is our closing statements. I think we have about a minute per person. I guess we can start with her. I think work our way down the line, and that will conclude our afternoon here. But please start, Joy.
I started out with the daylight posture of our early government. They found ways to abide with the Constitution. This all changed in 1900 with Theodore Roosevelt believing in progressivism. And now we have the curse of progressivism. We have such deep deficits that if the government raised taxes and took every dollar from everyone's income, they would still have deficits. That's how bad it is today. And President Obama, when he talked about in his State of the Union, he says we have reduced deficits by 3/4. And yes, he did. He did reduce from $2 trillion deficits to $800 billion day deficits. That $800 billion day, which he modeled, is the worst deficit up until about 10 years ago. And then, while he was giving that speech, he didn't tell us that the 2016 deficit on that day was $7 billion per day. Way, way, way greater than the one he was talking about. What we need to do is get control of our government. Our Republicans and Democrats
Time, please.
let us down, and we need to reduce government.
Thank you again very much for assembling this panel and assembling these candidates together. As you make your consideration for who to endorse for the United States Senate, I would draw attention to the fact that we are in need of more citizen statesmen, stateswomen. We have had for far too long career politicians, lawyers, representing us in Washington and failing us there. It's time to put forward a candidate who understands the issues, who understands the Constitution, who wants to ensure that our laws are consistent with constitutional values, wants to ensure that our spending is reined in, that the value of the American dollar is passed along so that the currency is actually valued for the next generation, that wants America to take its proper leadership role in international affairs without necessarily having to have boots on the ground in every country, but recognizing the realistic worldview of each nation with whom there are dealings taking place. And finally, recognizing that education is important, but it's a decision that is best left at the local level, and that will work towards ensuring that the federal government reduces its role in education, its funding in education, and puts those decisions back at the local level for parents, teachers, and local school boards to make, so that we can, in fact, save the future.
We're spending $5.26 billion on defense right now. San Francisco is spending almost trillions of dollars on destroying the land there, putting up skyscrapers and building unneeded highways, and the city is full of poor people. I don't hear any of the people I have ever campaigned against offer one single solution to doing something for the people. It's all money, money, money. Let me take you to the cleaners. We send our young kids to die for us, and we get nothing in return except a lot of nothing. I suggest we put people to work growing marijuana everywhere, pay them $15 an hour for a 30-hour work week, and a $300 a month stipend, which comes to $27,000 a year, which would put 2.5 people to work for what we keep one person in prison for. I suggest we start looking towards life, providing water by growing marijuana everywhere for all of its uses. We can stop global warming and the need for war.
Okay, well, thank you. I know it's a tough format, but you all did very well. Panelists, thank you again for your service. Certainly 6 hours into this, and this was our conclusion. I've been honored to serve as the moderator today, and certainly wish everyone well in their campaigns. And I think that we stand in recess.
I also want to give a big, huge thank you to our moderator, Mr. Andrew Martin, who drank the group. I don't even know what honestly that is. But thank you.
Can we get all panel members and moderator to take a photo? And then panel members, we got to go downstairs in the patio in the back to start the voting process.
Hold these tables back full.
Don't worry about it. Karen's going to handle that. California candidates, thank you so much for coming. You're welcome to go in the lounge area. Just go downstairs and go through the restaurant. The lounge area is right there. And do whatever.
Come on down to the concert. Absolutely. All right, let's take a photo.